Hello, friends, followers, and fellow 3D enthusiasts. Welcome back to Wolftrack's Life Design, where we are talking multiboard. Back by popular demand, we've had a lot of requests for more multiboard videos, so we are giving you more multiboard videos. Probably a lot more than you really want, but hey, we're here. We're going to get it done. So, if you've been following multiboard, you have seen there's been a lot of changes lately, and some of those changes we're going to go over today. So, we're going to discuss a little bit. And the first thing that really made me excited was the plates. Really love the plates. So we have some examples here of plates.
Yep.
We have, this is the 4x4 plate, which actually meets up with the standard 8x8 size. Mostly, somewhat, kind of, but pretty close. So if you have any legacy, remember that word, legacy multi-board, the 4x4 is going to kind of coincide with the 8x8.
So anyway, there's the legacy
Yeah, there's a legacy
comparison.
yes.
Okay.
And that is a legacy tile.
Yep.
Now, back to filaments. So, people talk about PLA or PETG or ABS. Well, I have PLA, I have PETG, and I have ABS. Now, ABS is really strong, it's really nice, it's really cool, but the thing you really want to be sure about with ABS is on this corner. You might not be able to see it. We'll get a close-up, a zoom shot here, is warping. And this is on my Bamboo P1S in an enclosure with a preheated chamber and all this other kind of stuff. So if you're going to be printing ABS, you might want to consider brims or mouse ears or something on the corners to help keep them from warping, because that right there, that corner is pretty much useless because it's kind of squished. Now, 4x4 is the standard size, at least for us. Now, you can also go a little bit bigger. Now, if you have a Bamboo Lab or anything that's comparable to Bamboo Lab, where'd it go? There it is, 5x4 here somewhere. Not sure where it went, but the largest you can go on a Bamboo Labs printer, oh, there it is, 5x4. So I did the 5x4 in ABS, is 5x4. So it's still functional, still works, still is good.
Just don't do it in ABS.
Just don't do it in ABS unless you are familiar with ABS and all the good things that ABS can provide. Now, you can go as big as this, which is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6x6. Now, these are printed in PLA. Now, if you have a printer that can do big enough, which you need a really large format printer to get there, PLA is probably your best bet because those are usually going to be open frame printers. So not a whole lot of stuff to keep the heat in. And if you're going to be printing in PETG, this is one of my failed prints.
You had to try it.
I had to try it. I tried it too soon. I didn't get the PETG dry enough. So up here in the corner, it started to lift and really do weird things on the printing. So what is so great about the plates? Well,
that was my question.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, seriously. When this stuff came out, you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like, I don't get it.
You don't get it.
No. So are you going to do this one?
Go ahead,
do that one first. Okay.
So
this helped me understand
there we go.
What this is.
So this is so this is a standard legacy tile, an 8x8, and this is a 4x4 tile of the plates. Now, the plates, you can get all that you can print all these different inserts. Some of them you can make decorative, so if you're really creative, you can fill this in with something, your logo, your initials. If you forge, you might be able to put someone's photo in there. Be kind of cool. But each of these has different things to explore. So like, here you can like do the little things that you can slide in there, and you've got little peg holes here, little screws. These are mini snap pieces, and here's a big snap, so you can put a big snap in, plus all the little wrong side, screw holes that you can use, or pegboard holes. So it's very versatile, but as Jonathon explains on his video, if you really need high density storage, then your best bet is the regular multiboard tile. Now, can you get multiboard tile, your old multiboard tile, your legacy, to work with the new plates? And yes, you can. So up here you'll see We have a connector on the back. This is one of the new connectors. So yeah, right there. So you can download that and print it off. And it usually, people are looking at this as, hey, just for the plates or for the new ones, but you can actually use it with the old ones. And on the other side here is you have this mini connector plate here with a little screw, a little lock nut that goes in there. Now on this side, we have a flush mount snap. So if you notice, it doesn't really stand out. And then also a little lock nut, and that holds it in place. And it can hold them together. So if you want to have that kind of integration, you can do that. The one thing that you have to be careful of is you can't do it on the side with the pointy pieces. So
Yeah,
that,
because that gives an extra distance, right?
yeah, so you wouldn't be able to make this. Now I've tried using it with the, what's the cross connector? These guys. Now, if you recognize this from the legacy multiboard, this is kind of like what you'd use to put 4 tiles together. It doesn't work with that.
Now that's the new height though, or
Yes.
width.
And this is the new offset height. This is the 6.5 millimeter instead of the 8. This will not work with the 8 millimeter offsets.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're going to do this, might need some reconfiguration. I don't know. But it's possible. It's up to you. It's multi-board. You can do what you want. It's cool. Now, and this is also, going over to filaments, this is Tough PLA Pro Plus from 3D Fuel. So this one also is supposed to be really tough, really have some really good resilience over regular PLA. So it will supposedly, outperform regular PLA, which if you like PLA, you like the ease of use of PLA, this might be an option for you. But again, 3D Fuel, look them up. They got some good stuff. Speaking of which,
is that high temperature?
Yes, this is not as high temp as what we're going to talk about next.
Right.
So another option for your filaments is Polymaker. They just came out with their Polymaker HTPLA. Now, you've probably seen this all over the planet on YouTube. Lots of makers are using this now, or trying to say, hey, is this going to work or not work? I've seen a lot of tests. And speaking of which, we're going to be testing our own. So this one is actually printed in the Polymaker HTPLA, whatever it is. This one's actually from a US made filament manufacturer. This is Ziltech out of Texas.
And that is a PET G.
And this is a PET G. Now, kind of like, I favor PET G a lot because I like the people are like, oh, it bends too easily, but the thing I like about it is it will bend back, it will spring back. Whereas PLA, after a while, is just going to start to deform. When you push on it and start to move it around, things like that. It's like, you bend a piece of metal and it stays bent after a while, and then when you try to bend it back, it gets all weird. PET G is a little better on that. Now this one, Mama Wolf, what do you think about that?
It's shiny.
It's shiny.
And I don't know if I like multi-board to be shiny. Looks a little flashy for hanging your tools on. But hey, if you like that.
If you like, if you like shiny, or if you like matte, if you know where it's kind of flat looking, put in the comments below. Let's take a poll. See who likes what. Because I've seen.
Are you team matte, like I am for tools, or are you team shiny?
Yeah, I could go either way because I'm just not really looking at the background, I'm just looking at where my tool is hanging. So, but I don't know. It could be if you have a really dark garage, not a whole lot of light. Shiny could be a benefit.
Maybe it's reflective.
It could be reflective. I don't know. But what we're going to do is.
You want these guys?
Yep. We're going to conduct our own test with everybody's favorite test dummy, the Dummy 13s. So we have the bodies printed in PET G, so they're supposed to be high temperature and be able to survive being in a car. This is PET G?
Yeah.
Oh, and this one's PLA.
That one's PLA.
This one's completely PLA. Regular PLA. And then this one is all PET G. And
this one, once I get it put together, these just literally came off the printer. Don't look at this one because, it needs some cleanup.
This is part of the difference between PET G and PLA. This is PET G from Polymaker, And this is the new high temp PLA, the HTPLA
from Polymaker.
From Polymaker. Huh. I'm still getting it dialed in, so there might be some defects that you might notice on the screen, but as you get it dialed in, it's going to print up great if you like the way PLA prints. PETG takes a bit more effort to get it just right. That's why we use the bamboo high flow.
So basically, we're going to put that third one together, dummy 13, and we're going to put it in our car. And just do a test.
Because it gets hot down here. Yeah. So we're just going to let it heat up and see what melts and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And we'll let it go for a few weeks, and we will report back here what we find and show the differences, what happens. So more multi-board. So another thing that they announced was the border tiles. Actually, before we do that, so how can you tell the difference between a regular new tile and how can you tell the difference between a legacy one? Now, they fit together nicely, but you can't really see it on camera, but if you print one out on your own, you can see that one is going to be a little bit thicker than the other. I can't see it on here very well, but
zoom in.
We'll zoom in. We'll get a close-up shot. So as far as like going, side to side with the
connectors.
The connectors. What's the new one called? It's called because you like legacy and then the
on border.
On grid.
On grid.
On grid. On grid. Yes.
See, so much new language.
Lots of new things. So they don't quite meet up. The other thing is these edges are going to be all nice and smooth. These edges.
There's some indentations in that one.
There's some indentations you can kind of see like right here. We'll get a zoom in on that one too. And those kind of fit together as you're doing your tiles, which brings us to an important note about the tiles, especially the border tiles. So there are now 13 different border tiles. Now,
13 options.
13 options for border tiles, because border tiles are one of the new things that, was really good about the new multi-board on-grid update. But there's 13 of them. And so like most people are going to be looking at, hey, the regular one where you have an upper right and upper left and a center tile or upper center tile. And then, there's all kinds of tiles. So, but the thing to remember about these is your tile orientation now becomes super important. So like that is a corner tile.
No, this is a mid tile.
This is a mid tile. So this might be a bottom or a top, but is it? So right now, if we put it together like this, it's going to go nicely, and you're going to get that nice little alignment down at the bottom. Right down here, it goes on and on and on. Now,
and here's the corner.
There's a corner. That's the other corner.
So, but then the middle row is different, and the top row is different.
And the core is different. So
yes.
So if you're on the same row, you might be able to get away with. We have that over there. Just doing like 4.
Yeah.
Like this, putting 2 corners together, and you can do a 4x4.
I think one of the most important things to do is to use the planner for the new tiles, and we'll link that in the description because it has the links that takes you right to the one that you need to print. So put them in your project planner and use those links.
I know I've had to go back to that a lot, getting used to these new tiles. Now, another one that's going to be really popular that I think is one of the most valuable ones is the tile. This is the single border tile. So it's got a border on all sides. Now, the cool thing is it has these little holes right here. And you can actually link them together like this using one of these little guys, which you probably can't see too well, but we'll put it up in there.
We'll zoom in.
Yeah, we'll zoom in. It's one of those little, you've probably seen these on multi-bins and things like that for putting them together. And for Pete's sake, if you're going to be doing this,
make sure you print the tool.
Do your fingers a favor and print the tool.
Save your thumbs.
Save your thumbs. You will definitely be happy about that. Your thumbs will thank you. And you'll be able to use them later.
And then I know, didn't these were specifically made in case somebody just wants to put a board up, just flush mount on the wall, not worried about any offset or anything. But when we printed these out, one of the things I noticed, do you remember what I said?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
My favorite thing about multi-board is the peg holes, because I understand peg holes. They're very simple. But if you're going to go with this style, you're going to lose rows of your peg holes.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have them on the edges where they come together. So if you're going to build up this way, you're going to lose those peg holes. So just be aware of that.
And you can use these with the new offsets, and even with the old offsets as well. But just if you're going to be linking these two together when you're doing your planning and you want to have like something on the end, like one of the border tiles on the end, you might need to reposition that later. Something to consider. But you can put them all together. Now, the other cool thing about this that was announced was the beams. This is one of my favorite things. So the beams, this is actually a beam frame that I put together. So you can print the bottoms, you can print them flat, or this one has a little recess in it. So we're actually planning on using this in some of our retail packaging because it fits an 8x8 tile, which is kind of our standard tile. And then we can stack them high, stack them either way we want to. There's one thing to remember too. When you're printing this border, or this beam piece, here, hand me a beam piece over there.
Yeah.
When you're printing this piece, it's like a 7-inch or 7, whatever it is, whatever 7 unit is. And this is an 8 unit. When you're looking at how big this is, you got to compensate for these little corners here.
Corner pieces.
These little corner pieces. So you pretty much go
right there.
Yeah, right here. You pretty much go one less. So if this is like 8, you print your
beam
in a 7 because you're going to have this to fill in the gap.
And does the 7 go by how many of the clip holes there are?
1, 2, 3, 4,
I think
5,
I just
6,
realized
7.
that. Yeah.
I think it does.
Yep.
Yes. So pretty much there's your rule. When you're doing this, and this really confused me a lot at first, because like you put one of those little clips on this end, and you put one of those little, and snap it on here, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't look right.
Doesn't look square.
Doesn't look square. How are you gonna?
How am I making a box?
Well, the thing is, it doesn't sit on this. It sits this way, just like that does.
Yeah.
So
it's sitting on this part.
It's sitting on this part because this is going to be your bottom. Yeah. Now, when you are putting these together using the little clips, what do we call them? The lights and the heavies, or whatever it is.
The lights and the tights.
The lights and the tights. So the ones that are full, the ones that are not an outline. Oops, just had one.
And we'll have to zoom in on these.
Yeah, we'll show you these. So these are an example of the lights.
You can see through them. The light comes through.
Yeah.
There we go.
So it's just like an outline of the clip. Now the heavies are the ones that are filled in.
I call them tights.
Are tights. These are the ones that will hurt you. There you go. So these are the ones you want to definitely make sure you have the tool. Now these you can print in. I would recommend PLA for these because the PET-G might be just a little too flexible. And it'll actually crush as you're trying to get it in, and then you'll have problems later on. Now this is actually good for if you don't want to make it a permanent basket, that you can then kind of take it in and out as you need it. And now that we got through all that, let's talk about placing these. So you have your little tight and light. Okay.
They rhyme.
Yeah. So this would go in here, which would then in the beam, where'd the beam go? And then attach through there. Thing is, you don't want to do every hole on the side or on the beam because you don't need to. It doesn't need to be that strong. Plus, it'll be a real bear to put together as well as
take apart.
take apart. Yeah.
I think every other one would probably be the most you'd want
Yeah,
to.
pretty much every other one, like do the 2 outsides
And then one in
and
the
then
middle.
one in the middle. So it's like one here, and one here. And if you think you might want to take it apart, then use the lights. If you're going to use the lights, then you could actually put a few more in just to give it some more stability. But, when you pop it in, it's like, how are you going to do that? So by doing just every other one, it gives you an opportunity to kind of like slide it in and snap it in. It takes a little practice, but you'll get it. And don't get too frustrated because once it goes together, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, and you can do a lot more with it. So now that we're talking about bins, let's talk about old style bins.
Yeah.
And the plates.
All right. So back to the plates.
Back to the plates.
Now,
Now,
I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. Is that okay?
Yep. So Jonathon was demonstrating this on his video. And at the time, they didn't have all the little connectors to be able to attach your bins to the plates.
And this is a legacy bin.
This is a legacy bin. It's on there pretty good. And actually, this one is full. Try not to dump it out here. Is full of screws and nuts.
And it's on there good.
It's on there pretty good. It's not going to go anywhere. Now, if you do tip it up, it will snap out. And then, but basically, it took me forever to find these because they didn't release them right away. There's these little blue tabs that go in the corners of the legacy bins. And they do hold in pretty well. Can you fish one out of there?
I don't know if I can fish that one out. I can get the next one, though.
There you go. So on the ones that the new bins, like if you go out there and download a bin today, you're going to get the new bin. Now the new bin, how do I put this in here? Don't forget your orientation.
Yeah, you just spun it.
I just spun it. All right, so the new bins actually have little holes down here at the bottom that the old bins don't have. Now these new bins have this little blue piece right here that goes in there, and they come in set to 2 like that. So when I first put it down, I'm like, what in the world? But no, they come apart. So you just use 1 per bin, unless you have like a long bin like this. Then you can snap them in. And then those snap into the plate. So nice and easy. I love my bins.
Yes. And you can still use the older style, the legacy.
Yes, you don't have to reprint your bins, which is very advantageous because these things can be a pain sometimes, especially if you're doing PETG. But you don't have to reprint them. All you gotta do is print out the little connectors and it'll work just the same.
Are we going to put the links to some of the more difficult things to find in the description, right?
So if you can't find them on Multiboard, ask your wife. She will find them.
I did find them, didn't I?
You did find them. Because I couldn't find what was I looking for?
One of the
yes, one of the new snaps, the flush mount snaps. So like I said, I mentioned this is one of the new snaps. It's flush mount. There's no little lip there like on the old snaps. So there are a ton of new snaps to go look at as well. So download those, experiment, kind of look at the videos, and then there's all kinds of like new lock nuts. They always print flat, so you got it. There you go, put them together. New lock nuts. They go with that. Look at the new learning packs because Jonathon's been updating those with the new things. But get out there, download a few things, start printing them out. If you don't have a 3D printer and you're still interested in multiboard, let us know because we are multiboard partners. So we are allowed to actually sell them online in our shop. We do stacks of border tiles for other makers who don't want to occupy their printer printing these tiles. So we print them like 10 at a time, 12 at a time, 20 at a time if we need to, because that's what we do. That's how we help support other makers so they can use their printer for something else that's more enjoyable, more fun.
Yeah. And if you have questions, put them down in the comments. I've learned a lot by watching Jonathon's videos, but also just talking with another maker who's my husband, but you know, um, just ask us and we'll figure it out together. If you're stuck, happy to help.
Happy to help. Happy to help because this is exciting. We really love what we do. We really love the 3D printing, and what really got us into 3D printing was multiboard. So that's got us started.
Yeah.
Yep. So enjoy your multiboard, enjoy your 3D printing, print something beautiful, print something functional, print something that you're going to enjoy for a long time, and enjoy the adventure one layer at a time.
See you next time.
Oh, and I almost forgot to mention our sponsor today, LaCroix.
It is not LaCroix. We are not sponsored.
I drink enough of this. We should be sponsored by
Yeah.
LaCroix. But anyway, no, we're not really sponsored by LaCroix. We're not sponsored by anybody except me. I'm sponsored by Mama Wolf here. She's my CFO.